107.7 Pulse FM, home of the 2019 federal election for Surrey and its neighboring cities. #Pulse Politics.
The Canadian federal election is on October 21st. Today's featured debate is Coquitlam-Port Coquitlam. Joining us in studio from the NDP and Green Party candidates, we were hoping that the Liberals' Ron McKinnon and the Conservatives' Nicholas Inslee could join us in the Pulse FM studios, but neither could confirm their attendance. So we do have the NDPs and Greens, as we were talking about. My name is Tara Lopez. We're joined by Pulse FM's news director, Kevin Diakiw. Good morning, Kevin.
Tara.
And before we get started on our debate, if we could so kindly ask our candidates to just mention to our listeners their name and the political party which they are representing.
Hey everybody, I'm Christina Gower. I'm running with the Coquitlam-Port Coquitlam NDP.
My name is Brad Nickason, and I'm running with the Green Party of Canada in Coquitlam-Port Coquitlam.
Good morning to both of you. We're 10 days away from E-Day here. This is like down to the final stretch, mile 22 of a marathon here. Christina, I got to ask you, I know you've been working full-time as a nurse. In addition to this has to be an exhausting exercise for you.
Yeah, it's been a marathon since February. I did actually a lot of extra shifts so that I can clear up my schedule September, October. But I've still been working the 12-hour shifts up until about a week ago, and actually commuting by bike to and from work. It's about a 15-hour day. So
are you holding up?
Good, sort of. I'm tired this morning. I didn't get sleep last night. There's, I got some disturbing emails about some job loss in Port Coquitlam last night, so that kind of kept me up. But I'm holding up.
Yeah, hopefully we get a chance to talk about that. And I just got to ask you, why would you even bother sticking your head up into this public realm? What's the motivation behind this?
Yeah, that was a tough decision. It took me about 4 months to agree to do it when I was asked, and I was really surprised. I've been an activist for almost 30 years now. So really just getting my voice into Parliament was kind of the clincher. But, all the things that I see as a psychiatric nurse, I became a psychiatric nurse because what I was seeing with Riverview closing and the downtown east side filling up with vulnerable people, the opioid crisis, I've been touched personally by people dying from that, and my good friends, even just recently, somebody lost someone really close to them, so it's been a tough time with that. So I would really like to see a crisis declared there. A lot of things, environment.
Thank you very much, Christina Gower. Greens, Brad Nickason here. Same question. Why would you want to enter into this battlefield of an election?
Well, this is my second time around, and I'm finding that this particular election is, for me, a tougher election. And I'm still trying to figure that out. But the reason that I originally joined this fray is I'm 59 years old. I have a memory all the way back to when I was a young man, when the East Coast fishery collapsed in Newfoundland. I remember that as a young man, and I thought, the adults will figure it out. They'll figure this situation out, and they'll deal with it. And then as I became a young man in college at Langara, I was studying theater at the time. Then around that time, the Battle of the Carmanah Valley came out. And we saw people fighting and standing in the way of logging, only to save things like the spotted owl. And I thought, they're going to get it right. They've got to get it right. And then as I got older, I got married. I started bringing up my children. With my children, I was completely enwrapped in what happened with them for 20 years. And when they grew up, what happened is I started seeing that these problems have not gone away. We have the salmon collapse that's going on in BC right now. My role is to help my children and everyone else's children.
Thank you very much, Brad. Great answer. Christina, I want to go to you, but sort of identify what the top issue in this riding is.
This issue, I believe our top challenge is going to be the climate crisis, absolutely. And that's a global thing now. So it's not just this riding, and I believe it firmly that it's in every single corner of our earth that we all need to work together to combat climate change.
Maybe you could tell us what you plan to do about it.
Sure. Obviously we need to get off the fossil fuels. That's the number one. And our platform with the NDP is to cut the fossil fuel subsidies immediately and redirect those funds into training and transitioning oil workers into good paying jobs that are if they choose, going to be in the renewable energy sector. And I think the most important part of our plan is that we tie the people together with that transition and make sure nobody's left behind.
What kind of alternative energies are you talking about here?
So the top three are solar, geothermal, and wind that we've talked about. We have also thought about wave technology, that kind of thing as well. But those are definitely the top three that we would be working with for sure.
Thank you very much, Christina.
Yeah.
Brad, same to you. What do you see as a top issue out there?
Well, when I'm knocking on doors, what I'm finding out is affordability is a big issue for people, but it's not the existential issue. The greatest issue that we have is the environment, and we know that. And from our perspective, what we want to do is encourage people to follow the science, to look at things like the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report out of the UN and see what we need to cut our emissions by. I think that's probably what distinguishes. Between Christina and my party, they're very similar social things. We agree on so much. We have just little different ideas about how we achieve those things. But it's the science is where we disagree and how fast we need to get to the point of cutting our emissions in globally. And as Canadians, we have a responsibility to do that as leaders. We think of ourselves as leaders. We need to start thinking and acting like that in the world.
Thank you very much, both of you.
107.7 Pulse FM, home of the 2019 federal election for Surrey and its neighboring cities. #PulsePolitics.